Good afternoon, good evening, and good morning to wherever you may be listening to this podcast, the new podcast from me, your host, James Dyer, the James Dyer Podcast. Thank you very much for tuning in. This is our very first proper episode, and we thought we'd do it in the aftermath of England losing in the Euro 2020 final to Italy on penalties. We will get right into it, but before we do, I'm going to introduce a very dear friend of mine and my favourite person to have on the podcast, a special guest, James. How you doing, mate?
I'm good, thanks, mate. How are you?
Yeah, all good. I would have been all right were it not for the fact that England lost on penalties last night.
Sad.
How do you feel about last night? What's your opinion?
It's tough. Like, as much as I'm really proud the fact that we got to a final. Like, I tried to console my son yesterday, who's 9, and say that I'm 34 years old, or will be, never seen England play in a major tournament final.
Yeah.
He's 9 and's already seen England in a major final. So I think we lost to the best team in the tournament.
Yeah.
If I'm being completely honest, Italy coming into the tournament, I think something like they lost 1 in 33 games or something like that.
Yeah.
Big, probably some decisions on Southgate's head, but that's what he's paid for. And be it right or wrong, I still think he's the right man for the job. But
just on that, then, because obviously there was the talk of Gareth being offered a new deal, even whatever happened at the tournament. I guess my question with that is, does he deserve more time, or because I feel conflicted, right? I feel like England had arguably one of the best squads.
Yeah.
Of any team. You know, if you look through some of the best teams, like, they all had their flaws. So with Belgium, they had obviously crazy talent, like both the Hazard brothers, Lukaku, Mertens, Carrasco, Kevin De Bruyne, Witsel. It's insane. But they had a very ageing defence, a little bit like Italy in a way, like Vertonghen, Alderweireld, Vermaelen. Then you looked at Portugal, though, again, their big downfall obviously was they had a very pragmatic manager, like defensive manager, for a team that's got like crazy attacking talent. Like, obviously Ronaldo's older, but you know, Diego Jota, Renato Sanchez in midfield, like, they've got some quality players. And then you look, but again, aging defenders like Pepe and people like that. I know they have Ruben Dias, but Ruben Dias, he formed such a good partnership with Stones in the Premier League.
Yeah, it's not going to go straight to the international side.
Yeah, no, exactly. And obviously Guardiola and the Portuguese manager are very different. And moving on to like people like Germany, you know, they didn't really have a recognised number 9. They got Werner, but obviously he's been pretty average, really. You know, and then you've got Italy, who blew away Turkey in the first game. I think that shocked everybody.
Yeah,
it shocked me.
It's funny because I think, you know, me and you have watched football for years, and when you think of those good sort of old-fashioned sides, sort of the late 90s, early 2000s, were a very defensively good side. Whereas now, I see them as an attacking side, with the likes of Insigne, Immobile, you know, Berardi, all these players coming through.
Yeah. Belotti, Chiesa.
Yeah, they're all very attacking players, and it was almost watching a completely different Italy. Yeah,
it was mad.
I'll be honest, I don't watch Italy if they're not in a major tournament.
No, of course,
I won't watch a friendly. No, yeah. But if I compare them to what I've seen previously, they're like a completely different side.
Yeah, no, I do agree with you. And I think Mancini deserves a lot of credit.
100%.
You know, and actually, touching on Mancini, I actually thought, going back to the manager thing, the question I asked about Southgate deserving more time, I thought that was the difference yesterday, more than anything else. The difference was that they had a manager who's been there, done it, got the T-shirt, he's won the Premier League, you know, he's won Serie A. For me, he was the difference. Yeah. Like, he wasn't, like, I have to be honest, I know I'm an Arsenal fan and I shouldn't like Kane, but I rate Kane. He's clearly an excellent striker. But I put a tweet out actually saying that Chiellini and Bonucci had excellent games. Yeah. But if Harry Kane was world class, like genuinely world class, like people say he is, I think he outfoxes them. They're old, they're slow. Yes, they're experienced. Don't get me wrong, and I'm not knocking them as defenders. They've got such pedigree. But for me, if Kane was world class, he outfoxes them at least once in the game, and I don't think he did.
Yeah, I agree. And I think again, it goes back to the decision on the tactics. I know there were a few people we were divided in opinion. Let's say going with 5 at the back with wing backs, and yes, it worked out for the first goal, but if we're being completely honest, that was a fluke.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't work for the other 88 minutes.
No.
So
I don't think the system was right for Harry Kane. I think when England go 4 at the back and have that extra man in midfield, it allows the likes of Declan Rice or Calvin Phillips to push forward and be that extra man, which then gives space to Sterling and... Who was on the wing yesterday? No one was on the wing. So
no,
it was Mount. That's it. It was Mount.
Playing more as a kind of like... I'm not quite
10.
sure what role he was. He was almost like a free role, kind of.
So I don't think the system was right for that game. And I think, if I'm being honest, that was the only mistake Gareth Southgate has made in the whole tournament. But it's the one that cost us the most, I'd say.
Yeah, I agree. And you touched on a player there that I really like, who I think has done really well this tournament, is Calvin Phillips.
Yeah. The Yorkshire Pirlo.
Yeah, bless him. Yeah, a really good player, really talented, great energy, tough tackling, proper like Leeds man, or seems that way. But on young players, why do you think Saka was on the 5th penalty? Why? Because I can't work out a reason why a 19-year-old boy who's never, as far as I'm aware, taken a professional penalty in his short career, why he's taking probably the second most important, or either the most important penalty, or along with the first penalty, the equally important penalty. So,
unless you were a fly in the wall in the dressing room or in training, from what I'm hearing today, obviously the morning after, is Sancho, Rashford, and Saka perform the best in training on penalties.
Yeah, I read that somewhere.
If Rashford, Sancho and Saka have smashed in every single penalty they've done in training, and they get to the final and they put their hands up and say, I want to take a penalty, I think that shows amazing belief from your manager that he puts that kind of faith in you as a player. And it's horrible that he missed it, but could you imagine if he scored it?
Yeah, and I guess that's that's the thing we kind of touching on there, or alluding to the fact that penalties ultimately, whatever you say about them, they are total lottery.
Yep.
And you never know what's going to happen. Donnarumma is a beast of a man.
Goalkeeper.
Yeah, I mean he's enormous presence in that goal. He's about twice the size of Saka in terms of height. Just a beast of a man, and penalties are a lottery at the end of the day. We're obviously, really heartbroken last night. It was obviously really painful to lose that, but not as painful as the aftermath, particularly on social media, but also, from what I understand, out after Wembley and that kind of thing. And obviously, we're talking about the racism directed specifically towards Sancho, Rashford and Saka. Obviously Sterling has experienced it a lot. But I wanted to say actually that it isn't just directed at those 3, is it? It's an attack on the entire population of anybody with any different colour in this country, isn't 100%.
It? And I said before we started recording today, like, it's fine being a black footballer when you're winning, but it seems like as soon as you lose, it's an issue. Yeah. And that's
you make a mistake, and
you're thrown out to dry. That's not right. I think people forget. Marcus Rashford fed the poorest children in this country, and everyone was behind him. He was given an OBE or some, on MBE or something. But because he misses a penalty, he's automatically the villain. Yeah, no, that's not right.
And the worst thing is, he isn't just a villain; he's a black villain.
Yeah,
and that's worse. Yeah. For those of you that don't know or can't see, because we're not filming this, it's obviously a podcast. James is originally has family heritage in Mauritius.
Yeah,
and so obviously isn't a white guy, and that's why it's always valuable to get an opinion of somebody else as a white person. I've said this on social media before, and I've been criticised by a number of people on social media, but I've actually said I actually am embarrassed to be white at points, because it's just painfully embarrassing. Because, and I know, the same with let's say like it's the same with anything, but you know, it's all very, it's not fair necessarily for me to say, oh, I'm embarrassed to be white, because there are a lot of white people that do good things.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of taking the racist stance on it, if you like, and generalising.
Yeah.
So like what racists do is they take their opinion and they smother that all over every single black person or every single Asian person or every single person from Eastern Europe or whatever it might be. And I guess I'm kind of doing the same, like as a white person, and a straight white male, I guess I find the racism a lot. Obviously, I can't empathise with it, but what I can do is be embarrassed by it and sort of like almost ashamed of people that are of my colour, of my gender, if it's sexism or whatever. It's just desperately well, not unfortunate. That's really not doing it justice. It's just desperately disgusting. Like it's just deplorable at this point.
And it kind of ruins everything that the last 4 or 5 weeks has stood for. In the darkest time, the whole country have come together following England to a European Cup final. Yeah. And it's automatically undone by the actions of a few. It's just such a shame. And
it is.
Today at work, people messages pinging around. We have a DNA strand at work, a BAME DNA strand, and someone on there said that her eldest son, who's a teenager, was worrying about going to football training today. Yeah. He's a black male.
Yeah,
he
that's
has to
appalling.
go to football training this afternoon.
Yeah.
Knowing that he's potentially going to get some stick from his mates, whether it be a bit of fun or openly racist. Yeah. He shouldn't have to worry about that because someone missed a penalty.
No, of course.
It's just disgusting. Yeah,
and do you know what? I think you touched on a good point where you said, like, whether it's a bit of fun or just clear out racism. I think the problem is there are a lot of people that pass off, like, racially motivated comments. Oh, it's just banter. Yeah. Oh, it's just I'm having a laugh. I'm just having a joke. It's like, no, but what you don't understand is, it's
there's
not funny.
Behind that,
yeah. There's belief and there's a kind of substance behind the comment that you just think, well, that's not really funny though, is it? Sort of thing. So, ladies and gentlemen, guys that have been listening, 12 and a half minutes in, and we've been pretty depressing so far, been all about England's defeat and all about racism. But what we should say is that James and I have been friends for a very long time. We have also started a YouTube channel, which is going to be rebranded soon. It was originally called TEA, or The Eloquent Arsenal, or T. That will change in formation with the podcast, and we're hoping to build the episodes. James and I have been friends for a very, very long time. Back in school. When did you join? Year 8?
8.
Year 8. So for those listeners that may be abroad or those kind of things, year 8 would be kind of like second year, I guess. Kind of the age of about 13, roughly. And we've known each other since then, been very good friends. And it's just great to have James on. One thing I did want to ask you about was recently you've started up personal training. Yeah. So tell us a bit about that.
So, for those of you that don't know me, I've always been a big guy. James will tell you he's probably been on the receiving end of some tackles or shoulder barges in the past. But in December 2020, I actually caught COVID, and COVID attacked people that are more on the overweight side. And it made me thinking about, wanting to lead a healthier lifestyle and stuff like that. So, did
you immediately change your lifestyle choices at that point, or did you?
So I've always been a fit and healthy guy. I've probably carrying excess weight like anyone, but it just kind of.
Sorry, just to cut you in that. Do you know what I've said before? What, you're 5'8", 5'9", really stocky, really strong. But you've always been very quick. Yeah. You've always been very fit. You've always been able to run around. You've always been able to play football for hours on end. We used to do it all the time. So yes, no, sorry to cut you, but that's one thing that's a good point to make.
So since kind of once I recovered from COVID, and I'm lucky to be one of the people that got over it quite quickly, sort of within 2 weeks. I immediately made a decision to want to lead a healthier lifestyle. Yeah. So I've always enjoyed going gym and stuff like that. Yeah. So sure. I started training myself, going to the gym again and working out at home, and I began to see the weight slowly fall off. Rome wasn't built in a day, so
of course,
it's never going to be fixed overnight. And I made the decision to start a personal training course. So I'm about 6 months in now. But whilst I'm training, I want to open up to about 10 people.
Yeah.
Just to,
I guess,
test the business model. Yeah, test the business model.
Yeah.
So to be a personal trainer, you obviously, to train in a gym, you have to be certified. To be able to train in a gym, health and safety and stuff like that. But actually, outside of training in a gym, you don't need any qualifications. Okay. So what I want to do is apply what I've learned to help other people in the same situation that I was in. Yeah. To help themselves lose weight and be confident that they'll be equipped to lead a healthier lifestyle after that. Yeah. So that's my main goal.
That's wicked. So are you going to do presumably not just physical training, but also like diet plans and those kind of things?
Yeah. So the qualification I'm following is to obviously be a qualified personal trainer and nutritionist. So nutrition is obviously a massive thing now. There's fast food on every bloody corner now.
Yeah, of course. My kids want McDonald's after this.
But it's all about making those healthier choices. So yeah,
of course.
If you want to go to KFC, there is a healthy option to KFC. If you want to go to McDonald's, you can go to McDonald's.
Of course.
But everything's got to be within the limit. And I've been in the situation where you would just binge on food. You'd have bad days where you just eat constantly. Of course, yeah. And then panic about it later. Yeah. I just want to give people the knowledge and experience to control it themselves. And I think that's the first step for people, really. There's a lack of understanding. And there's a lot of misconceptions about training. People think that you go to a gym, lift massive heavy weights, which will put people off. Yeah, of course. Whereas it is the complete opposite. Yeah. I'm training someone at the moment, and I've been training him for 3 weeks. And already, we're seeing results. Yeah. I just want to get rid of the misconceptions. Yeah. And
for a guy that's, this is not any disrespect, but for a guy that is small, like shorter, obviously, like you said, carrying a bit of excess weight, but is actually fit and healthy. It's just that's your body shape and size. I guess it's promoting that positive body image and those kind of things, which obviously make a huge difference.
Yeah, and things like fat shaming people. There are. I have accepted the fact I'm always going to be a stocky guy. I'm never going to be a 12 stone. Lean, slim gym type guy. I'm never going to be that, and I've accepted that. But that doesn't mean that I just carry on how I used to be. Yeah. For example, like dinners and stuff. At least 3 times a week, I'll have grilled meat of some kind. Yeah, yeah. One day a week, I'll have a cheat day. I'll have a pizza. I'll have a chicken and chips. Yeah, yeah. There's nothing wrong with that, but it's all the stuff you read in the paper and the stuff in the media.
And then you've got things like, I know this is crazy, but like the Netflix series Too Hot to Handle, Love Island, all of these things where you see these, don't get me wrong, very fit men, very slim women, they're out there in their bikinis and their tight shorts and that kind of stuff. But I guess for people that are, let's say, normal, in inverted commas, that I know from my personal experience, funnily enough, I turned up to a gig a couple of weeks ago, and the bouncers that are on the door, who I've met many, many times, one of them said, your missus being feared in you? And I was like, I can't do the accent. But she was, and I was like, what do you mean? And he was like, you put on weight. And I was like, thank you. Now I feel really good about myself. I put this jumper on earlier thinking, I don't look too bad today. And you fucked that right up. So thank you for that. Oh no, that's brilliant. That's absolutely brilliant. So, just to flick it back very quickly to football again before we wrap up. So, Sancho signed for Manchester United. Yep. Today, I'm seeing very heavy links and positive ones with Rafael Varane from Real Madrid. What are your feelings as a Man United fan? What are your feelings at this point in time?
Exciting times. I never thought in the season where there would be a European Championship that we would have signed someone like Jadon Sancho. Yeah. Obviously,
it's taken 2 years.
It's taken 2 years to get this done. I mean, it's the longest bloody transfer saga ever. But yeah, I mean, from what we saw of him in the Euros and what we've seen from him in the Bundesliga, he looks like a very exciting player. Yeah.
Should have got more chances in Euros.
Yeah, he should have. Again, I trust that Southgate didn't think he was right for certain games, and he was right up until the final because we won every game all the way through. Rafael Varane, I mean, Harry Maguire has been absolutely immense.
I have to say, right, we sat here on the YouTube channel a few months back, and I'm pretty sure in one of the videos we was like, he is rubbish. For 80 million quid, you've bought a fridge.
Yeah.
Where actually, credit where it's due, and whether it's because he's in an England shirt or whatever, I don't know. But he came in for Tyrone Mings and has been nothing short of unbelievable.
Yeah, and do you know what? I mean, you touched on it earlier about Diaz being in the Portugal side and it not quite working out for him. I think Stones was the perfect partner for him at the centre back for England because
with Maguire, you mean?
With Maguire,
because
Maguire is a very tidy defender, almost a bit like how Rio Ferdinand used to be. Very tidy, calm and collective, good with his feet, can bring the ball out.
Yeah.
Whereas Stones is the one throwing his body in the middle of tackles. He's getting out there. He's doing the dirty stuff. I think having someone like Varane, who's very similar to not worried about putting his body on the line, will throw himself into tackles, that will bring the best out of Maguire.
Yeah. He's quick. He's a quick centre back.
Yeah.
He's played in Spain, so you'd like to think he can play with the ball.
100%.
You know, it's a good time for Man United by the look of it.
The other one today was, I think they signed a set-piece coach from Chelsea. Again, I can't remember the last time Man United scored a set-piece goal. No. So it's good that they're working on this type of thing.
That isn't a free kick or a penalty.
Yeah. I mean, Luke Shaw's proved it. He's wicked at a dead ball.
I tell you what, right? Quick shout out to Luke Shaw. Not that it's going to mean much on this little podcast, but shout out to Luke Shaw because for me, I really liked him at Southampton. I wanted Arsenal to get him because we signed like Chambers and Walcott.
I remember us having that conversation about before we went to United.
And when Mourinho said all his comments and obviously like the leg break under Van Gaal and all that kind of stuff, I think it was under Van Gaal, wasn't it? He broke his leg. Yeah. I really thought, he's gonna peter out.
He's gonna fall off. Yeah.
He's been unbelievable in this tournament, and do you know what I love as well? And again, it's the Arsenal kind of tribalism, but I love how Luke Shaw's talked about Bukayo Saka as well.
Yeah.
You know, he's really talked him up and said what a good lad he is.
He's almost like
massive credit to Luke Shaw.
I can't remember how old he is. He's still young though. He's like 24, 25.
25, yeah.
He's one of the leaders in that squad.
Yeah, he looks like one.
I mean, even at United, he looks like a leader in that team, and that's what you need. You need those players to show a bit of maturity and become leaders on the pitch. It's all well and good having a captain, but you need leaders all over the pitch.
Of course.
Of
course.
And I think that, going back to England again, I think that's what happened at this Euros. There were leaders all over the pitch.
Yeah.
You know, everyone from Kieran Trippier, Kyle Walker, Pickford. Like, I've never seen a goalkeeper go as mad as Pickford.
I'll tell you what, Pickford's save for Jorginho's penalty was unbelievable. That deserved to win a shootout. Really, it was just a shame that the rest of the penalties didn't. But
I think there is again back to England again. I think there's a really positive future, and we finished 4th in the World Cup, we finished 3rd in the Nations League, 2nd in the Euros. There's only one left. Yeah. And that's winning a tournament.
Yeah, of course. Do you know what, as well, just touching on that actually, you make a good point. Does it help us that the Qatar World Cup is actually quite soon?
Yeah.
Because I was thinking this, like, normally you have like a full 2 years for the next tournament. You've got qualifiers and then the Nations League now and all this kind of stuff. There's an argument to say that actually the fact that the Qatar World Cup is so soon, it's like less than 18 months away.
You're going to have little time to forget about
this. Yeah. So you're going to go
flip that. You're going to get over this really quickly because
you've got to qualify for that.
Yeah.
And you're going to have the memories of this fresh, but also you're going to look at it and go, it's not like, like quite often, like let's say like Ronaldo for Portugal, right? In 18 months' time, there's probably a question mark of, is he actually going to go, like his age? We don't have any players that are at that age, with the exception of maybe Jordan Henderson. But he looks fit as a fiddle to me. Kyle Walker's in his 30s, but again, he looks like he's never getting slower. If anything, he's getting faster. Yeah. This is a great chance for England to really build on this.
Yeah, and you forget about arguably the players that are on the bench for England. Some of them are better than the players on the pitch. Phil Foden, he didn't get much of a look in. I know he had a bit of a knock.
Bit of a knock.
Imagine him in 18 months.
I agree.
When he gets a little bit more time.
Under Guardiola, title winner now, those kind of things.
Imagine Jack Grealish if he gets a move. God. Imagine if Harry Kane gets a move.
Yeah, I mean, I think Harry Kane. I think if Harry Kane moves to, let's say, Man City, which at first I thought that's going to happen. Now Guardiola said they can't afford him and all this kind of stuff, but that might be mind games. But with Kane, I feel like if he goes to Man City, he's 40 goals a season.
Yeah, he will just become a winner.
And I think that's what England need. Like, England need winners now.
And I think that's the other great thing about the World Cup next year. It falls bang in the middle of a Premiership season. Players are going to be on form. There's none of this going away and coming back.
I think it's November the 21st to December the 18th or something.
So they're all going to be on form. There's going to be no shine away from it. Gareth Southgate is going to have a pick of players on form. He's not going to have to worry about a break afterwards. So,
and don't forget, I mean, you've got other players to come into that squad. Like, you've got Mason Greenwood at Manchester United. You've got Emile Smith-Rowe from Arsenal. You know, there are other players. He didn't play Reece James barely.
No.
He didn't play Chilwell.
No.
You know, Foden was out injured in the end. You know, he barely played Rashford, barely played Sancho. These are all young guys, like quality young men.
Well,
you know. Guys, thank you so much for listening to this podcast. It's been a relatively quick episode, and I know it was a bit depressing at the beginning, so apologies about that. But we are going to do more. We're going to have lots of guests on this podcast. We're going to have so many people coming on. We're going to have restaurateurs. We're going to have people that are in different industries. We're going to have a Britain's Got Talent finalist on the show. We're going to have all sorts of subjects coming along, and we can't wait to do them for you. Thank you so much. Please like, share, subscribe, and we will see you soon. Thank you very much. This has been the James Dyer Podcast from James.
And James.
See you later. Thanks very much.